What's happening, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and those beyond the binary? My name is ZenkoSolo, and today I would like to talk to you all about the current state of supports inside of Marvel Rivals, and why I think they all need to get a collective nerf. So here's the thing that we all have to understand first and foremost. There is a reason why supports inside of Marvel Rivals are comically easy to play. It's the same reason why in games like Final Fantasy XIV, healers have been drastically toned down from their 1.0 iterations. Now I could follow up that sentence with a 20-minute spiel on the human psychology behind this, but instead of doing that to flex a useless degree, I'm just gonna sum it up with one simple statement. Humans are lazy motherfuckers. We, simply put, do not want to put in any more effort than we feel is necessary at any given time. The reason we don't answer our phones or text messages isn't because we're busy, it's because we don't want to be. Which is pretty bad when your role is generally more involved like a healer, because just by virtue of locking it in, you're effectively saying, yes sir, I would love to babysit 3 to 5 different dumb fucks for the next 15 minutes of my life. Now if making sure Wingus, Dingus, and the Three Stooges don't shove a fork in a power outlet or go and choke on a pebble doesn't sound like your idea of fun, then guess what? You're not really gonna gravitate towards a healer role unless you have incentive to do so. These roles are made easy because at the end of the day, communication is hard and you can't trust other people to be able to do their job. I'm looking at you, Jonathan, with your 11% accuracy rating on Punisher. Now there's a very high probability that if you insta-locked DPS every single game, you don't really know what I'm talking about right now, and if you don't, congratulations, you're probably part of the problem. However, coming from me, somebody who plays strategist as needed, and also somebody who mained healer inside of Final Fantasy XIV, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you, most people in a public setting do not know how to do their fucking job. You know, you would think that all of these fancy tanks out here with all these different colored buttons would actually be tempted to press them in some form or another, but I guess they just think it's flavor text or something because they never do. Damage mitigation? Offensive cooldowns? What are those? I'm just gonna go charge headfirst into battle and hope my healer figures it out. Meanwhile, the healer is inside of the back line getting molested by the Spider-Man and the Psylocke because the enemy team decided to run a dive composition as soon as they realized the enemy's tank was a dumbass. And I know a lot of you are probably going to say, oh, that's mean or that's crass, and you know what, dude, that's just how it is, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm 100% part of this problem. I've never played a hero shooter before this game, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what a good flank looks like or what my specific job as a tank is besides occupying space, but still, I try my best to mitigate damage on approach while still putting pressure on the enemy. I think I do a good job, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. The point is though, the reason why healers are as overtuned as they are is because inside of a game like Marvel Rivals, if they aren't, nobody's gonna want to play them, because if they do, then they're likely gonna get their ass kicked to no fault of their own. However, in the same breath, I can say with a fair amount of confidence that they might have overdone it just a little bit. Does anyone want to explain to me why Mantis is a healer, but she can put down most DPSs faster than they could do it to her? Because that doesn't seem like a healer role if you ask me. There should be no universe where the healer is dropping 275 HP targets in 3 headshots. That's a bit ridiculous. And just so we're clear, if you get close enough to her, one of those headshots are for free because she can put you to sleep and also cancel out most offensive ultimates with the same button. That's nice. So seeing as we're already on the topic of canceling out ultimates, let's go ahead and talk about healer ultimates because they are quite possibly the most asinine thing the game has to offer. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this off with Loki. I actually like his ultimate quite a lot. If it wasn't for the fact that he can mimic other healers' ultimates, which effectively just compounds the problems that I'm about to start talking about. Luna Snow's ultimate is quite possibly the most cancerous thing in the entire game. If I'm not mistaken, it features 12 seconds of basically immortality for anybody who stands inside of the radius of the ult. Never mind the fact that at the time of me recording this video, people have figured out that if you just kind of spam the buttons, Luna Snow can keep both the healing and the damage buff up at the exact same time. So not only is the entire enemy team going to be unkillable for the duration of that attack, but it also means they're going to be doing just as much damage to you as you are doing to them. And I know that 12 seconds doesn't seem like that big of a stretch of time, but when it can be followed up with Loki mimicking the Luna Snow ultimate, and then on top of that, you can just have a Mantis do what is effectively the same thing, or a Cloak and Dagger if you're feeling spicy, it becomes quite a while. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you do it right, there's going to be enough invincibility time time for the average player to put down the controller, put on a 3-piece suit, go out to eat at a 5-star restaurant, come back home, shower, start a family of 5, watch one of your kids die of polio at the age of 30, grow old with your wife, die, reincarnate, live your previous life all the way up to the point of playing Marvel Rivals, and only then will the Mantis Ultimate be halfway done. It is genuinely fucking ridiculous that the game can get locked down for half a minute at a time, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. Granted, I know that there are some exceptions. Certain ults can hit through others, and that's fine and good, but you shouldn't have to use an ultimate just to counter what a healer is doing. It is so unbelievably stupid that they have a 12-second cooldown to shut down our ultimates, but DPSs have a 2.5-minute cooldown to maybe shut down theirs. And when I say maybe, that's a bold, italicized, all caps maybe, because half the DPS roster can't even fucking do it anyway. The only 3 characters that come to mind that I know have an ultimate which can deal with a Luna Snow's ultimate are Punisher, assuming you hit all the headshots, which again, not very likely in a team setting, followed immediately by the more plausible 2 being Iron Man and Moon Knight. Now before I get off the topic of healers and their ultimates, let's talk about Jeff. And if you play Jeff, you are either really funny to be around and don't really care about the game, or you're the biggest fucking nuisance ever and I hate you and everything that you stand for. There is no in between. I have on many different occasions encountered Jeff players who will quite literally do nothing but inconvenience their team because they think it's funny. But the reason I'm saying all of this is because there are unironically people who will abuse Jeff's ultimate just to piss off their team. Here's the thing about this guy. If you use the ultimate, there is quite literally 0 warning that you are about to get swallowed up, and even characters like Spider-Man lack the tools to escape it as soon as they see the radius. There is quite literally only 1 warning you get before the ult starts, and that is Jeff going yummy yummy, but the only person who can see the radius that Jeff is about to swallow is the one casting the ultimate until he actually does it. And since nobody can see when it's about to show up, and because it is impossible to escape once you're inside of it, you are completely at the mercy of the intelligence of the Jeff player. Granted, the average Jeff player's IQ is probably in the single digits, which means the only play they're gonna think of is jump off the nearest cliff. Now again, this wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't A, completely unescapable, B, there was more of a warning before it happens, and C, it will always, unless your name is Rocket Raccoon, result in your death. At first, this may not sound as bad as, 12 seconds of not being able to damage the enemies, but once you realize you're stuck in the fucker's mouth for 7 seconds, he's gonna drag you off the map, which is gonna lead to a 10-second respawn, and then when you factor in the time it takes you to walk back to spawn after dealing with all the previously mentioned bullshit, it usually adds up to about 30 seconds of being able to do nothing. By the way, this is your punishment for sticking with your team in the objective-based hero shooter. Are you fucking kidding me right now? It is especially annoying when the Jeff decides to pop this ultimate a few seconds before the game goes into overtime, because if he does that, congratulations dude, you just lost the game to no fault of your own. Jeff may not be the strongest healer in terms of actual heals, but he is most certainly the most annoying, and I haven't even gotten into the fact that he can, heal himself, regenerate his own damage, become basically untouchable, and on top of that, he can kill 250 HP targets in 4 shots, so that's cool. And it's really bad because I'm talking mostly about Jeff, but according to competitive tier list, he's actually the least viable healer. Yet, here I am describing him like he's the spawn of Satan. The point I'm making is, I think healers across the board need to be nerfed. Some of them just heal way too damn much. Their ultimates across the board, with the exception of maybe Rocket Raccoons, are absolute fucking nuisances to anybody on the opposing team. And on top of all of that, they're doing their whole healing job at a almost 0 detriment to their personal damage. I already know for a fact that a Cloak and Dagger and a Mantis are just as strong as most of the DPS roster. In fact, Mantis counters most DPSs. Something has to be done about it because right now the average time to kill is just too much. There should be no universe where people are doing 15,000 damage a game and only getting 12 kills when the average hero has 250 HP. Well, that is, unless the universe you're living in is the one where Punisher doesn't understand the concept of insanity humanity while spraying bullets at the tank. Either way, I could go on about this for hours, but I think I'm just gonna leave it here with a nice little sample size of my average opinions. Ladies, gentlemen, and those beyond the binary, this has been ZenkoSolo, and until I feel like talking about video games again, I will see you all around. Farewell.